What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy, D Rhythm, back with another video. Got a special video for y'all today. Special video for y'all today. We ain't do too much basketball watching yet today. We just been like taking a little we've been taking like a little mental health break. So we really ain't do too much basketball watching today, but you know, still working out, still doing that type of stuff. So today, we'll just take the time to reiterate, I guess like some of the stuff that we already know, and I guess, just sort of do that, in this video right here. Cause I know I know me specifically, I'm trying to take like mental health breaks and sort of like healthcare or mental, like, not like stress wise and stuff. Like, I'm trying to, or I guess not trying to, what I've been doing. It's taking like, like sort of like mental health breaks and stuff like that, and trying to, work on that regard, and just take care of that aspect of like, my health, which has been pretty fun, and it's been something that I've been, I guess, sort of exploring or indulging in, I guess you would say, over the past, like, just today. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to, that's what I've been doing, but, other than that, I've been still going to like, still going to hoop, like, what I'm saying, to the courts and stuff. Got it, getting a few shots up, like, but for the most part, I just been on that type of time of just like caring for like health and just, like, mental health today, and just sort of like that type of stuff. So, that's kind of like the type of time that I've been on. But I was gonna like try to watch a little bit of the game, but I don't even know if I'm gonna get into it. I'll probably get into watching a little bit of it. And I'll probably watch like a little bit of like film after this, but mostly just like probably like game highlights. It's probably what I'll be looking at. And then game highlights is what I think I'll be looking at. And then so the one thing I can say, in this video right here, one thing that does, sort of bug me a little bit. I did have this thought, and it was about nutrition. But nutrition, right? So like it's just like so all right, let me just try to like be straightforward with it, right? So you know, yeah, my thing was definitely like nutrition and everything. And it was regarding just like the amount of nutrition you get, and like as a the amount of nutrition you get, and as just like as a basketball player, as an athlete, like is it enough nutrition? Like what I'm saying? Um, it's a matter of course, replenishing the amount of energy that you put out. You know what I'm saying, in terms of like your energy and stuff like that. I think is important, and I think sometimes it's hard to do that. Just depending on like I guess I guess your body's cycles. I guess can sometimes make that difficult. Because sometimes you might, it's just like you just have to be knowledgeable, just like how much exerting out of your own body. That way you can like replenish properly, and that way you're not necessarily like robbing yourself of nutrients, overworking it and not replenishing. But anyway, what I wanted to really say though, in this podcast was even beyond like basketball. Probably gonna watch the game a little bit. I'm probably gonna, I've been struggling trying to do like research, studying, right? Like studying these classes, that I have, because I got classes of my own that I gotta take, and study. That I gotta take and I gotta study. So like, that way I'm not getting like bad grades, and I just been struggling trying to study these classes. And I need to come up with some sort of new routine or like workout routine, so where I can work out and then study, and then sort of just like do business, take care of business, and sort of just move on from there. And I've been kind of struggling with that, but I think that for the most part, it's just a matter of just like picking and choosing certain workouts, I guess, that you like, would kind of like consider doing for that day, creating a workout program regime, and then just like sticking to those exact amount of sets and reps, or whatever workouts you choose to do for that day, and then just moving on to studying from within a set time. Like it's like, okay, I want to have this amount of workouts, and time based, because it's like by this time I want to be studying. So you was sort of like, but anyway, like, other than that, my thing is like, now cause you can, of course, other than that, my other thing was just transitioning from, of course, your workouts, and the time frame you have to work out, and then the time frame you have to work to study, and then the time frame you have to do business. Is very important, right? And it's like now you can sort of maximize your effectiveness in terms of what you do throughout the day, and it's much easier to be able to create a schedule or a regime or a routine, you know, or basically just structure in terms of like how you go about your day and how you go about your progressions, um, right? So that's important, scheduling, in terms of time based, like, you know, very important, right? You know, so other than that, making sure that you leave the gym at a certain time, and you just pack your workout within, with exercises within that time frame, and the same thing with studying, you know. I'm going to stop studying at a certain time. I have a certain time, you know, um, that I'm going to stop studying. So within this time frame, I'm going to, make sure that I'm able to study this well. And it's the same thing with other outlets that you might have or that you might get into or might indulge in. It's just a matter of, like, within a set time, and based on the time, it's going to be um uh it is going to be you know pretty much what the time is going to be, just like pretty much what dictates, for the most part, just the length of just like effectiveness in it, I guess, or just like it's going to dictate just just in terms of just like how long I stay there, right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of just like factors in terms of what I do as well. All same effort, but with certain things varying, right? Due to time. So other than that, you know, that I think that's gonna be important. Me personally, just time based. And then the other thing is just being able to, take your own advice, or just take your own like philosophy or way of conceptualizing things or understanding things, and sort of implementing those things uh, implementing those things into your life, and to, like, your sort of routine or day-to-day lifestyle, or just life conceptualization in general. I think is important. I think that's important, and it's because now you have that much more authentic, sort of like mental authentic space going on, or realm going on. So, I think that's important, and yeah, I think that's important as well. So, mental outlets, right? And mental outlets to be able to express your mind, express your, imagination, your thoughts, your true imagination, and then, expressing these things right here. So, I think that's very valuable and important. So, other than that, I did want to talk about a little bit, like I said, just taking care of your mind and being able to, like, express your mind, like I said, and sort of like implement your sort of like, you know, just your input, in more like subtle ways. I think it's important, and sort of like nudging your sort of like nudging your mental sort of like, I guess like guidance and like what you feel in terms of like how you think in terms of like, that sort of thing. Just letting that just be like some sort of guide or like, subtle nudges that, that you just have, that others, I guess, may not pay too much attention to, but something that you would, or things that you would, right? And that's the major difference maker. But yeah, that's a thing. So other than that, I think I'm gonna conclude this podcast right here. This is definitely a deep rhythm podcast. Talked about a few different things, talked about a few different things, but most underlying is definitely just it's gonna be just guidance and just structuring your day to guidance. In terms of like being able to dictate what you your imagination, and being able to just flourish out of your own imagination, and regardless like what anybody else says or what anybody else, this is just something that that can just be made, just regardless, it's just something that, time-based, and you could just make sure that you're, able to sort of like utilize your imagination to just, create these things, just get innovative within that sort of space, within that sort of box, and, just being able to be creative, I guess, like, and innovative within their own space, or just be like a chance to just be yourself anyway and sort of incorporate your own ideas, your uniqueness, into like your day-to-day life, I think is important as well. And, getting past a lot of other stuff, in order to get there is sort of, the goal and sort of what's important. But, like I said, a lot of that can just be maintained just through keeping it all time based, and having things time based, that way, you sort of know when you're going to get into certain things, and of course your body will eventually adjust. So if you really want to have that sort of control, right, most certainly just one thing I can say is that's definitely it. Like, routine is definitely the way to go, right? Routine is definitely the way to go, and sort of structure is definitely the way to go. And business is definitely the way to go as well, right? Understanding like business and just understanding your business. So yeah, I'm going to conclude this joint right here. Peace, love, and the most important thing takeaway from here that I want to make sure, I guess, I reiterate as a concluding statement, or as something to conclude this podcast, is most certainly going to be time, in terms of like how you structure and schedule, how you schedule just like what you're trying to build and what you're trying to do, or what you're doing and building, and then that's probably the most important thing, and just proper And then just, just being able to, like, I guess sort of like take care of like your time in terms of like being able to just, I guess, be mindful, or I guess like, transition from like the hard work aspect of it to, the studying aspect, that you got to do. And then, or like, studying, schoolwork, that sort of thing, and taking time to just be time-based there. And then, proper maintenance, or, proper creation of programs and routines and regiments, like proper, writing of that sort of thing. I think I make a huge difference. Like, in terms of like for workout regimes, right? And then like, with under time, like under a schedule and under time, certain things you want to work on, certain things, you might not have time for, that you can sort of like, store for another time, right? But it's just workout regime, workout program. And then from there, you know, getting into business, from the stuff you have to do and into the stuff that, you would need to do, right? The stuff you got to do, and there's the stuff that you need to do, right, in order to progress a certain way, or that ways you want to progress. So this whole spectrum is, important to keep an eye on and to keep a note on. And last thing, not least, I'll say to just, know yourself and know your progressions, right? You know what I'm saying? The ways that, I guess, your flow, right, is just very important. But even more so, like, mental, right? Because it's a lot of times it'd be difficult sometimes to translate things, you know what I'm saying, in a way that you're designated, or that you're supposed to translate them. And then like, yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like nowadays it's tough to do any of that, like, have experiences and try to you know but anyway, I'm not trying to hop it too far in down that aspect. I want to keep it here because I think we've been doing a pretty good job with this podcast. But anyway, peace, love, and hope y'all hope y'all can keep your peace and get better in the next podcast. And yeah, we out this joint. Let's get it, y'all.